hang up my phone there? Because I'm hearing you through the computer and on my phone.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, you hear me?
Yes.
Over the computer only.
I'm going to share my entire screen with you. And now we're going to go to the presentation. So, okay. All right, here we go. Oh, okay, go ahead whenever you're ready, Will.
Okay, looks like we have just a few minutes left to get started. As you all have been waiting and anticipating, the title of this presentation today is Meet the Man Whose Students Broke the SAT. We're going to learn about how even Joe Simple can ring College Board's bell by using this simple 5-step system that has helped even complete underdogs get to the top 1% on the SAT. I'm your moderator, Will Wigan, and Mr. Michael DeSalvo will be our guest today from testprepaces.com. Now, before we get started, if you would, please make sure your cell phones and any other electronic devices are turned off so that you can get the most out of this presentation. And also make sure that you have done the diagnostic test that you received when you downloaded the information before you signed in today. We will be covering in the next 10 minutes that particular test. And it will be crucial that you've already done it, because when we go over that, Mr. DeSalvo will show you how his system, the same steps you'll basically be learning in his program and in this presentation today, will help you really dominate your SAT test on that test day. So please get that done as soon as possible. So I want to welcome all the parents and students who have joined us today, and I'll name the names of people in their states and stuff. And I'll say, and thank to all the rest of you. Thank you to all of you who are joining us. I know you are all excited about the presentation today, so I don't want to delay any longer. Let's jump right in. And so today's presentation, in this presentation, Mr. DeSalvo will be covering the following points: the College Board lie exposed, how you can take advantage of the gross miscalculation of the College Board and get a stellar score, the 5 simple steps that changed hundreds of students' academic careers by listening to these techniques. Next, the surreptitious sabotage, the subtle mistake most students fall for when approaching the SAT. Finally, your free college guide. These are Mr. DeSalvo's hand-picked choices of the easiest schools to get into for free. Then you have Mr. DeSalvo's Believe It or Not, the $1 golden bullet to crushing your test score in 3 months. And last but not least, we're going to talk about today's lucky winners of more than $8,000 worth of free prizes. Everyone here will be able to have the opportunity to win, but you have to stay tuned until the end of the call. So please make sure that you stay online and listen to the entire presentation. And Michael, are you there yet?
Yes, I'm here, Will. Would you like to let everybody know a little bit about me?
Yes, I would. Okay, Michael finished his BA of Psychology in 3 years, graduating magna cum laude from the University of South Florida with a 3.93 GPA. He practiced clinical psychology in graduate school and finished the equivalent of a master's degree in philosophy and critical thinking. He also graduated with excellence in English from St. Thomas Aquinas High School in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He was the teacher of the month, his first month working at Huntington Learning Center in Coral Springs, Florida. He has tutored approximately 1,000 students to help them excel in standardized tests, with dozens scoring in the 99th percentile. He did score a D on his final exam in freshman English, but Many perfect scores on PSAT, SAT, and ACT writing sections since then. I want to go over that with you when we get done.
Sure.
He delivered both of his children. This is kind of interesting. When doctors were not available. So can you tell us a little bit about that, Michael? That's pretty interesting.
Well, sometimes nature calls, and my wife wasn't keen enough to let me know what things were happening, and I had intervened with both my children were born. First, as you'll see a picture in a little bit here, you'll see Lidwina. She was my first, and my wife thought the doctors at the hospital would be a little impatient with her if she went too early, so she decided to let me have her deliver instead. So I didn't really have much of a choice.
That's pretty
And
amazing.
and then the second one, we actually wanted to get the help of a midwife, but she showed up about 35 minutes late, so I didn't really have a choice there either. But both turned out really well.
Well, you were a seasoned veteran by the second one, right?
Oh, definitely.
Okay. Another thing you might want to know about Michael is you may have seen his work in the Miami Herald, on CBS, Fox News, ABC, on Google News, NBC, and Yahoo News. And that's about as far as I got in working on the whole presentation. How's that sounding so far to you?
That sounds pretty good. Yeah, just you take up one or two notches and almost get spastic. That'd even be better. So,
Okay.
why don't you? Well, why
Yeah,
don't you
let's
try
take
to?
a look at these pictures now. And can you describe and tell us a little bit about each of these pictures that we're seeing here?
Sure, Will. I really want to make this about my students today, but if they want to know a little bit about me, there's me in the left hand side of the screen next to my wife. I think we're maybe at Busch Gardens in Tampa at that point. But this is Mary. She's from Kerala, India, the love of my life. And I have to say a lot about my children here, too. So this is Ludwina. She was the first one. They're both pretty big and pretty bright. And this is little George. And he's also a man of many words, at least for a 1-year-old. So, well, thank you for that introduction, Will. Let me get started here. So who's excited today about getting started here? I really can't say enough about this big transition for me. I've had about 1,000 students, and we have had a lot of interesting times together. And, once you've had 1,000 students, a lot of interesting things happen. So I've been in a wide variety of situations, probably had students from about 20 different countries tutor with me. But the big thing, one of the big things that's really motivated me along the way is I really do believe the College Board has been lying to us. I know that's a strong statement, especially for someone who's supposed to be a peace ambassador when he was younger. But I've heard a lot of students just have this expectation that they can only improve, 20 to 30, 30 to 50 points on their tests. And that's because College Board has told them that. Some parents have even approached me and said, hey, my son wasn't supposed to go up 240 points. They right here in this book, it says I should expect 30 to 50 points. That's really all we should expect, that these scores are stable and there's no use studying for the test. That's what College Board would say for a long time. But I'm going to show you today that's not true at all. And College Board is beginning to change their line. So there are some common myths that we need to deal with when it comes to College Board and their wiles. The first one is that the SAT is quote unquote hard. This is the idea of the infamous SAT problem, that there's some problems there that are so labyrinthine, so twisted, that no one really has a chance to solve them. And it's just not true. The only geniuses score high in the SAT. As I'll show you today, I've had students around the 50th percentile, right in the middle of the bell-shaped curve, score well over the 90th percentile, and that's when we've tapped into those hidden powers that they have for critical thinking. Also, that the vocabulary is quote-unquote impossible on the SAT, that no one can know all these crazy words and what they mean. There's the idea of the infamous SAT word. We'll see that's not true either. There's a new SAT will be quote-unquote easier than the current SAT. Well, that is truly a misnomer. I call this the idea truly of the poetical engineer. If you want to do well on the new SAT, this is going to start next March, you really have to be a poet and an engineer. If you looked at the test questions yourself, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Not only that we're dealing with higher level math like trigonometry and pre-calculus when we look at the new SAT, but we're also having to get into the mind of the author. Why did the author say this? What evidence can we give for one choice to back up another choice? So we're really doubling and tripling our bets. We really shouldn't have to. And this more, in a way, complex nature we'll see on this new SAT. So the last stereotype is that only rich people can do well on the SAT. This is, I call it the lie of the 1%. That you have to be, from a very affluent family to do well on the SAT, because the SAT is for the elites. And I've been in very rough neighborhoods where I remember even a mother was robbed in broad daylight and had her purse taken away in front of her home. The area was so rough. So I've seen for myself, students even from lower income backgrounds can do well on the SAT. It's a matter of implementing certain techniques. So how did we get here? What do I mean by that? Well, College Board has recently been really freaking out. Does anyone know the reason why College Board has been freaking out recently? Yes, Larry, you're exactly right. College Board has been freaking out because they noticed in 2012 that the ACT became more administered than the SAT. In other words, the ACT took over in popularity and really started gobbling up College Board's market share. You can imagine their reaction. They were furious. They, instead of taking out their anger on the ACT, decided to do one in to students. So students really lost their chance. They lost their options to take the current SAT once College Board realized that they were no longer as popular as they used to be. I myself think this happened for other reasons than the nature of the test. I think they just didn't do a very good job of marketing. But the good news for us is this opens up a door of opportunity to a world that's really much easier than people think. So my idea is that we should take advantage of this current test because this is the golden opportunity. Take advantage of their problem. There have been dozens, thousands of students who have figured out the secret to this system of doing well on test day on the SAT, have really massively increased the points that they've gotten on their tests. So we should take advantage of this problem. And I'll show you how. Now, first of all, I want to go over the test answers. We mentioned the diagnostic here a couple of times. Go over the answers so you all can know what's right, what's wrong. And then we're going to quickly go over this test. I'm going to show you these techniques in action. Does that sound good with everyone? Yes, exactly. Great. I'm really glad everyone's so excited. So let's first look at the verbal section. We'll see here, first in the verbal, number 1 is E. So just mark these right or wrong. We'll talk about the answers in a second. So number 1 is E, number 2 is C, 3B, 4D, 5 is D. In math, number 1 is D, 2E, 3B, 4 is A, 5 is 41. In writing, number 1 is A, 2C, 3E, and 4 is D. Now, I'm going to pop right over here to our actual test so you all can see how I'm dealing with these problems and what should we do about these here on test day. So I'm going to open up here to Paint so we can talk about these together. So first we're going to start with that reading section. And so if you all can pull that out real quickly here. I'm going to resize this so we can get at this right away. Okay, number 1. We have, in spite of the blank of his presentation, many people were blank with the speaker's concepts and ideas. So there's 4 steps we really want to use when we talk about these problems here. The first step in sentence completion is it's going to be to underline. What I want you to do is underline every context idea that you see. So someone on the call, can you tell me what are the different ideas here in this question? Okay, yeah, that's right, Janie. The first one is in spite of. We're going to see that's going to be used for our relationships. Okay, Joe, yes, presentation. There's an idea behind a presentation. Okay, good. So speakers is an idea. And then we even have concept and ideas. That's another idea. All right, so once we have those different ideas, secondly, we're going to classify the relationships of these ideas into one of four categories. We'll have accentuation, contrary, definition, and cause or effect. Okay, so accentuation idea is one idea is stronger than the other. Contrary, the idea is one that's opposite the other. Definition, we want to normally think about. That's when, by definition, one idea is the same as the other idea. And then we'll have cause and effect. One idea is the cause or the effect of the other idea. So can anyone tell me the different relationships we have here? That's right. In spite of tells us there's an opposite idea. Okay, well, we really want to think about definition. So presentation, what do we think about with presentations? That's right. We even have the word present in here. So the idea of a presentation is something that's good. Something we should naturally look forward to. And when I say a speaker, what does anyone think of when I say speaker? Yeah, like a professional speaker, usually kind of excited if we're going to have a speaker. He's going to be talking about something interesting, at least if he's a professional. And then concepts and ideas, yeah. When we talk about an idea, I have an idea. Usually an idea is associated with something good. So we want to go with the stereotypes. So that leads us to our third step. We're going to write a prediction into the easiest blank to fill. So presentation. What would we naturally think about with the presentation? Okay, it's good. Okay, let's just say goodness then. Okay. Now, we're going to correlate that with the choices, say which choice fundamentally matches up. Would we call that the interest of his presentation? No, it's not quite the same, is it? The power? No, not the same as goodness either, is it? Intensity? No. Greatness? Okay, maybe. Strength? Okay. We know that's another positive word, so we might hold that too. Okay, many people were gratified. Okay, so we have in spite of here. So let's think about what first would happen. So would they naturally be gratified in this sort of situation? Yeah, naturally, that's right, they would. So that doesn't really make sense, does it? Because we want the opposite. They were bored? Yeah, exactly. Because normally they would be excited, wouldn't they? So the opposite would be they would be bored. Let's look at the next one. Richard Wagner was extremely frequently intolerant. Moreover, his strange behavior caused most of his acquaintances to blank the commotion whenever possible. So Richard Wagner, you might know who he is. That might be important, but probably this intolerant, right? Okay. Now, who knows what intolerant means? That's right. You don't put up with someone. Moreover, does anyone know what moreover means? Yeah, so it's on top of that. So this would be what kind of classification? That's right. It's accentuation. So we have strange behavior, the idea of an acquaintance, and then a composer. So those are the important ideas. Now, how are we going to classify? Yes, intolerant. By definition, he's intolerant. We have accentuation here. So let's start thinking about these relationships. Let's try to make it practical, real life. If you were his acquaintance, Maria, what would you do whenever possible? This guy, he doesn't put up with anyone. He's also weird. What would you do whenever possible? Yeah, you'd probably stay away from him, wouldn't you? Is that the same as contradict? No, it's probably not something we would do, is it? Interrogate? No. Would you shun him? Does anyone know what shun means? That's right. You stay away. That's in the Bible, isn't it? Shunning, like shunning a leopard. Revere? Well, that's not the same, is it? That means respect. You see the root there is actually from fear, like verior, meaning to fear. So that doesn't fit very well, does it? And then tolerate. Well, we wouldn't put up with them if we had a chance, would we? Okay. Let's quickly jump over to reading comprehension here. And I want to give you all 6 steps in reading comprehension. Now, the first step, notice how it's similar to sense completions. We're going to be underlining every context idea we see in our question. Then we're going to be classifying the relationships, basically the type of question that we're seeing. Is it main idea, detecting detail, inferential reasoning, or tone or persona? So tell me the ideas you think are important here. Joseph, it looks like you know. What kind of words in number 3 do you see important? That's right. Okay, so fish and shellfish is our first idea. Okay, yes, becoming toxic. And then the time, right? Okay, now what kind of question would this be? So main idea questions are about the whole passage, like what's the best title of this passage? Detecting detail questions are more about specific details. They're very direct questions. Inferential reasoning is more about ideas. You know, what is the idea here? So once you got the idea in the question, you match it with the idea in the passage. Is it the same idea? And then we'll have tone or persona, where we read, just like the main idea, you read the first 2 sentences, last 2 sentences, underline all the ideas that you see, and then you're going to synthesize those ideas into a prediction. So we do that for main idea. We also do that for tone or persona. We're detecting detail. We keep looking till we find what we need. With inferential reasoning, we get the idea that we find the same idea in the passage, read one sentence before, one sentence after, we underline all those ideas, and we synthesize that into a prediction. So, okay, so what do we have here? It is pretty direct, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to call that detecting detail. So let's start reading. About 4 days after this minute plant comes to alter the coastal plankton, some of the fishes become toxic. Okay, so what does our prediction look like? Because that is really our crucial step here. After we've classified and gone to the right part of the passage, we underline the clues we need. 5th is we write down our prediction, and then 6th, we'll correlate that with our choices. So what sort of prediction would we write out here? Yeah, so like 4 days, isn't it? I'd say something like 4 days. Like 4 days after. But that's not our choices, is it? So I said what? If it's detecting detail, you got to keep reading. This is because in their normal feeding, they have strained the poisonous plankton out of the water. Okay, now do we have a time? So Joe, would you say dinner time is a time? That's right. Yeah, it is a time, isn't it? So is that the same thing as swimming in the water? No, we didn't see that, did we? Feeding on poisonous plants or animals. Emily, what do you think about that? That's right. It is the same, isn't it? And that's our answer. Let's quickly look at 2 more. In the context of the passage, the word virulence means what? So again, we'll go through our steps. We underline what? Context, virulence, line 4. Classify. What kind of question is this? It's more of an idea question, isn't it? It's even a subset of inferential reasoning. We'll call this a vocabulary question. So what we're going to do is when you see that word in the passage, you're going to cross it out. You can write your own word or phrase. And then we'll look in the choices and see which one that matches up with. So go up to the passage. You see the word virulence. This is more unique to the current SAT. We're going to cross out the word virulence. Okay. Read one sentence before it means, see a plant, strange terrible. Blank. There's this plant, all plankton, fishes have become toxic. What word would you write in there, Jose? Strange and terrible. Like, okay, so you're saying it has power. Okay. Yeah, because it's doing something, isn't it? Okay, let's look at the choices. Strange and terrible. Strangeness? No, it doesn't fit, does it? Color? We didn't really have an evidence of color, did we? Calamity? Now, we're not quite saying it's a disaster, like BP oil. That was a disaster, wasn't it? Potency? Does anyone know, does potency mean the same thing as power? Like if I talk about your potential, is that your power? That's right, Missy. They just think of the Spanish, okay? You know, poder. In Latin, it's potere. What? Poder means? That's right, you're able to do something. Does everyone see the relationship to the Spanish? We can talk about a lot more, like with the English, like potential or potentiate. We're going to see a hierarchy later. But it essentially fits the idea of power, doesn't it? The strength of something. Okay, very good. An odor, we didn't really talk about an odor. Let's look at the fifth one here. What? Paragraph preceding, right? Most probably, so if I say the word probably, what kind of question would that be? That's right, it's more of an idea question. So what does preceding mean? Carlos? That's right, pre means before, okay? So if I'm going to look up here to this imaginary paragraph, what would I expect it to say? Where should I look? That's right. Over here, I would expect the essence of the paragraph being summed up, wouldn't I? So when I look at the first sentence, the meaning of glowing water is ominous. I'm going to expect this idea here to match that idea there. Okay? So what's the essence of this sentence about then? That's right, it's the glowing water. Okay, let's look at our choices. Phenomenon of the Pacific Coast line. You see how coast describes a line? Are we talking about a line here? No, we don't see that. Poisons? No. Plants? No. Characteristics of plankton? No, we didn't see that either. So what? The water is the C, isn't it? It has to be E. Okay, great. Well, let's jump into our math real quickly here. We're going to be using some slightly different steps, but we will start with the same idea, and that will be to start with underlining. So let's go here to home. We're going to resize this, and let's start with number 1. Did anyone miss number 1? Well, I'm glad, because that's the easiest one. You all really need to get that and have some basic math skills. And I'm going to give you all an opportunity to work with me later, but we need to have a foundation like this where we're not making silly mistakes. We understand the basic algebra as a foundation. Okay, now the second one, we're going to talk about our steps at this point. Okay, we're going to start with underlining. What I mean by underlining is you want to set things up properly. So let's say if we have something like x minus y equals 2 and x plus y equals 3. If I want to get 2x, I stack the equations, right? Show that I'm adding. If I have a triangle and I know it's a right angle, I'll put my right angle symbol. Show them where they have same sides or different sides. If I'm trying to find the angle measurement, I'll extend my line so I can see all my angles. If I know I have a right triangle, I'll write down a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? Okay, so here, that's right, we should really stack these so we can see what's clearly going on. Okay, good. Now, whatever you're looking for, make sure you make it equal to question mark. Okay, now, our second step is relate. I also call it the R1 step. We'll put ones where they logically belong as coefficients, denominators, or exponents. So, for example, if I have something like 3c plus c, you'd call that 3c plus 1c, wouldn't you? Or if I have 3c to the 4th, and I'm multiplying times 4c, that'd be 4c to the 1st. If this is over 1, or let's say it's over 7, this would naturally be over 1. Okay? So the third step, after we put ones where they belong, and that's right, it is on the say, isn't it? So we're filling out the pattern, exponent, exponent, exponent with all our a's. We're going to simplify our factor. Simplify means, that's right, we'll put like things together. Factor, yes, we'll take out the thing in common. And what is in common here, Matthew? That's right. We're going to factor out the a to the 6th. So we say a to the 6th times what is a to the 7th? That's right, a to the 1st. What? There's your minus sign. And now we need a to the 6th. So we'll put our 1. Okay, very good. And we see that cancels out, don't we? Yeah, it is amazing. We don't have to make these problems complicated. I know this seemed impossible in the beginning. Here, let's underline our next ones. So what? Sarah is twice John. 6 ago, Sarah was 4 times John then. How old John now? Okay, good. So we're going to look for our J. And we'll get used to translating these mathematically. So what? S, that represents a number, doesn't it? So S equals 2J. 6 ago, Sarah. That's right. We're taking away the 6 from Sarah. 4 times John. Is the word then mathematical? That's right. It's 6 years ago, isn't it? So we have to respect the fact that this John minus 6 is one idea, don't we? And that's why we put those parentheses. So that's going to be our fourth step. We put the parentheses where they naturally belong. We'll also add, subtract, divide, or multiply one equation by the other. Okay? So that's our fourth step. And our fifth step is going to be to substitute. Okay? So you see what happens here. So this is my s minus 6 equals 40 minus 24. But we don't want the s, do we? Because we don't want the j. So that's why we what? Substitute. So the s equal 2j. Put that over here. And then we just add 6 to both sides. So 2j equals 4j minus 18. What? Subtract 4j from both sides. And that's why negative 2j equals negative 18. And j equals 9. Okay, very good. Let's look at our number 4 here. Okay, so if I say 3, 4 right angle, what do you think of, Larry? 3, 4 right angle. That's right, 3, 4, 5. So let's put that in here. In fact, let's just write it over here. So 3, 4, 5. If that's a 5, 5, 12, 13, Sarah? That's right, that's your right angle. So you just use your formula for triangle, which is, that's right, base sum side divided by 2. Plug them in, what? 3 times 4 divided by 2 plus, that's right, you got your 5 and your 12 divided by 2. And what? There's your 6 plus your 30. So there's your 36. Okay, very good. All right. One last one. So let's set this one up. This one's a little bit different. So we're going to stack our equations, right? So there's your x, y equals 4. Going to show we want x squared plus y squared. Can I underline? Well, yeah, I have my pieces. Okay, can I put ones where they logically belong? Well, there's the exponents, so we'll do that. Can I simplify our factor? No, it doesn't really work, does it? Can I combine equations? No, that's not working either. Can I substitute? That's right, this is a composite. It's not going to work, is it? So you actually have to use some supplemental steps. I call this E and B, C, 5. E stands for end. You say, where are you going in the end? N stands for now. How are we, what are we doing right now? How does that compare? B stands for beginning. Did we forget something in the beginning? C stands for choices. We look at the choices if we have some. Here we just have numbers, don't we? And 5 means have we gone through the 5 basic steps. So once we want to get the x squared plus y squared, we're going to say, well, what fundamentally has to happen between the beginning and the end? That's right, I need a square, don't I? Can I square these individually, Sarah? No, I have to square the whole thing, don't I? So does anyone recognize this form? Quantity of x plus y squared? That's right, it's the same thing as x squared plus 2xy plus y squared. And yes, you gotta square the other side, which is the 49. So, you know, this is what we need. We need the x squared and the y squared, but we don't want this xy, do we? But we know xy equals 4. So what step can I use next? Chad? That's right, we'll substitute. So there's 2 times 4. Okay, so you have x squared plus 8 plus y squared equals 49. And then we'll just subtract 8 from both sides. And yes, that'll be your 41. Does that seem a lot easier than it looked in the beginning? That's right. It is. It's a huge difference using these texts versus just trying to experiment with something. So, well, I'm glad everyone enjoyed that. So, I want you to think about these myths again now. You know, there's a few things we can talk about here, and I think we really should talk about the writing too, because some students really think the writing is impossible. But I'm going to show you, as someone who actually got a D on his final exam in his English class freshman year in high school, even if you're really behind, you can do well in the writing. And I'll prove that to you right now. So let's quickly look at this. So let's look at number 1. So we're going to have our steps here. We have what? Grammatical marks. So let's grab something to write with here. So we'll have what? Grammatical marks, modifiers. Then we'll have verbs. And then we'll have parallelism. So once we have our categories here, we can also talk about a structure. So the verb will naturally lead us to our subject. Also, the object or complements. A lot of times we want to check for conjunctions. They'll change the nature of what's going on, just like prepositions. But we have these categories. We want to underline if we need to follow what anything has been told for us to do. We'll also have modifiers, adjectives and adverbs. That's right. Under verbs, we have what? Person, mood, tense, and voice. And then we'll also have parallelism. Yeah, that's about the structure. So we're going to go through our categories. Grammatical marks, what? Periods, semicolons, colons. Do you change them? Do you add them? Do you take them away? Modifiers, we have things like idioms, misplaced modifiers, dangling modifiers, ambiguous modifiers. Want to make sure we have the right person, like what? First, second, third, singular, plural. The right mood. Does anyone know what mood means? No, it doesn't mean about the feeling of the story, does it? Does anyone remember from Spanish, like indicativo? That's right, it's just how something is. So we have indicative, imperative, what? The command. So that's like super reality. And then we have subjunctive. So sub means under. So we're the idea of something that's like less than reality, like a wish. Then we'll have what? Tense. So when we talk about tenses, we also have the sequence of tenses, like perfect and past perfect. Yeah, so one idea will happen before the other. Like I had seen her before the dance. So the scene happened before the dancing. Then we have the present perfect. Like I have seen that movie before. I'm relating the present to something that was completed in the past. And then the future perfect, I will have seen that movie by next week. So that's what's going on there. Then we have the voice of a verb, active versus passive. We prefer that's right, the active. And then we'll have parallelism that gets into the structure of the sentence. And with parallelism, we're going to have the idea of things being the same. Like I need to go by tomatoes, potatoes, and broccoli the store. Or if I say, give me liberty, that would balance with what? Give me death. Give me, liberty, death. So once we've gone through those categories, we correct whatever's wrong, and then we match that with the choices. So let's talk about that here in number 1. Okay. So number 1, grammatical marks. No, that doesn't fit, does it? Modifiers. Looks good too, right? How about verbs? That's right, it is the was, Jose. What's wrong with the was? Yeah, I was just telling you about the subjunctive, wasn't I? So there's no such thing as was in the subjunctive. You'll only see a were, okay? That's the first thing, and then you'll see infinitives after that. So I wouldn't say it is when he runs more quickly. I say it is more that he what? Run more quickly. You lop off the 2 and use the base form of the verb. Okay, number 2, we go through the categories again. Grammatical marks, no. Okay, modifiers. Is there something wrong with modifiers? Is everything clear? Nancy? Yeah, there's something wrong in the middle, isn't there? Yeah, so the question is this. What would cause the disgust? Was it the waiting or was it the tickets being sold out? That's right, it's the tickets being sold out. And if the tickets are sold out, that is an issue, isn't it? So let's go ahead here and move that. So that would be your answer, wouldn't it? Okay. He never has, he never will keep his word. So what has goes with will, never is being repeated, and then what keep goes with kept, right? So you see a parallelism can lead us to the fact that we're missing our kept. Okay, and then the last one, in spite of Tom, what do you say? Was in spite of Tom or was it in spite of the wanting? That's right, it's a grammatical marks mistake, isn't it? What was getting in the way of the sister? Was it the wanting or was it Tom? That's right. It was not really Tom, it was his wanting. So his wanting is short for what? Tom's wanting. So you can call that grammatical marks because of the apostrophe. So, okay, let's move over here to our next section. So you all see that's a different way of thinking that you're used to for the SAT. Did everyone think, who missed like more than 5 questions there? Now, Joe, do you think the problems are much easier now that I showed you those steps? That's right. Can you do those, you think, on test day if you saw something similar again? Well, that's the techniques are meant to do. So let's talk about this again. So I'm going to challenge you all and tell you that the SAT can be easy, okay? That the vocabulary can be easily deceptively easy as long as you use some hooks, like we saw in our vocabulary question. That you don't have to be a genius in order to do well. And finally, that it doesn't really make sense to spin the College Board roulette, right? You can take the old test and still do well. Now, what about this 1%? Let's talk about that. I don't think you have to be super rich to do that, and I'm going to prove it to you. So where did this all start? We started here with Richard. He was one of my first students at Huntington Learning Center. Now, Richard had never really done well at the center. He had been tutored there for several years. But I decided to start using these techniques with him in their very primary or embryonic form. And I wanted to see what they would do. So first, after about 2 weeks of showing him different techniques and some of the steps you saw in our presentation here, he was able to improve by 300 points in his first 2 weeks. And his parents couldn't believe it. I tell you what, they called up and they told this center, "We have never seen this before. What are you doing with our son?" And I was really flattered and also kind of embarrassed that these people had never received any good recommendations from his parents. But I decided to keep pushing it. And with another 2 weeks, he went up another 170 points. So he had a 470 point increase, a very motivated young man, and these were the primary form of the techniques that you've seen. But something happened. This was the final decision that made me leave. So Ralph here had it in for me. One day when I was standing by some other students, little Ralph here decided to grab an eraser and throw it at me as hard as he could, and he nailed me in the chest. And that's when I had to make the decision. Will I stay here and use the textbooks of this center and do the best I can to help students get some nice increases despite my tailoring things beyond what the center was giving me? Or should I change things myself and go out on my own? Well, with the center not cooperating and not helping me and getting any sort of apology from the student, yes, I decided to go out on my own. Now, what types of students does this system work for? Let's just take a look at some of these students. Now, obviously, I can't tell you the names of all these students to the whole group here, but you can contact me personally if you want to correspond with them. And no, results are not the typical. I'm not saying I've helped each student I've worked with to 400, 500, 700 points. But, these represent different personalities in different situations. And I'll inspire you all to know what is possible if you put things together properly. So first is Qatisha. So Qatisha only had about an 800 score on her complete test. She was one of the few that I remember helping to around 700 points on her test. It was a domestic abuse situation. She had a very hard time. concentrate. We didn't quite finish everything. But she
Michael,
pulled
sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. You can leave, Will. I've actually heard a lot of background noise in the past 10 minutes, so.
Well, also, I just want to let you know it's breaking up on my end. I'm not sure if it's my modem having some troubles, but it's breaking up what you're saying.
Okay. All right, well, you
I'm
can.
not getting most of what you're saying.
Okay. Well, I'll check the recording later, and if you have to go somewhere, that's fine. I could send you the recording
I'm
if
not
you
sure if
need.
it's a problem on my computer or if that's something with the overall transmission.
Okay, I'll check it later.
I'm listening clearly.
Okay, just wanted to
Hello?
let you know. Okay, so I can go ahead and I'll catch up with you later.
Okay, sounds good. Right. Mac?
Yes, I'm listening. Are you
Okay,
listening
that's.
to me?
I'm not sure if
Yeah,
you're responding to me at all right now. You want to give me a call?
No, I'll talk to you later.
Hello, hello, Michael. Are you listening to me?
Yeah,
Okay,
okay,
you go ahead and finish up because I'm going to log off.
okay. Hi, Mac?
Yes, I'm listening.
I'm getting nothing.
Okay.
I don't even know if you're hearing me right now, so I'll talk to you
Yes,
later.
I'm also hearing, Mr. Will.
Okay, that was Will talking, and yeah, I don't know. I think I've heard background noise on your end, but he
Yes,
said,
yes. So
yeah,
do you want me to go mute?
yeah, I can hear better now, but I don't know, for some reason he couldn't hear me, but you've heard me clearly the whole time, right?
Yes, yes, the whole time. I was listening clearly, yes.
Okay,
The sound is
okay,
totally clear, absolutely, yes. It
okay,
is fine. Here
and I
in my
don't,
end.
right, I don't hear much background noise on your end now, but I think I was hearing some before. So I'll just
There was a
finish.
little noise in my house. Are you listening to that? Is it disturbing?
I was hearing it in the last 10 minutes.
Is it okay now?
It's okay now.
Yeah, I think so. It is still silent now. Yes, people were walking around me. You see, that
Right,
is why.
right.
Yes. Do
Okay.
you want to continue?
I'll continue, and maybe you could play with your sound settings and see if you can mute yourself. Can you hear me now? Yeah, so I'll let you play with your mute sound, and you can come in on the end when I say that if there are any questions, and you can make up some questions and ask me that way. But I'm assuming you just muted yourself, so so we have an idea how to do this on the real day. So Quatisha was able to increase her score by 700 points, as I said, and we got through a lot of obstacles. So she was, I guess you could say middle class background, but was able to implement the techniques in a very thorough way, and I believe that's how we got the results. There was Connor. He graduated from his school. He was a football athlete. He played quarterback. Very determined young man. He
Listening
had
to
about,
me?
yes. Can you hear me, Mac?
Yes, yes. I'm listening clearly.
Okay. So I'll let you know when to jump in.
Is there anyone joining us?
No, he had to leave. So yeah,
He might, you can
um,
continue. Is it
okay.
about 10
I'll keep
minutes?
going. Yeah, I'll go. I'll probably go about.
The way, I have one question. The way you are using the drawing, it is not clear. Okay, it is not clear. When you are drawing something like numbers or
Okay.
equations, okay,
Right.
functions, when you are adding and drawing, it is not clear and it is not
Right.
that visible. So
Right.
you have to use the pen a little bit darker,
Right.
like,
And
yes,
yeah.
you have to increase it. You have to increase
Right.
its size so that it can be clear. Whenever you are
Right.
going to write something, you have to write a
Right.
little bigger than that
Right.
because you are writing like a small letters, okay, and it is not so clear. Someone has to observe very clearly, okay.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yes, if you want that, I can add that.
Yeah.
See, the way you are writing, the pencil size has to be bigger than this. Yes, right now it is a little bit clear. Yes, you
Okay.
have to increase the size a little bit more. Yes,
Okay.
if you increase the size a little bit more, then it will be more clear.
Okay.
Someone will see it clearly. Yes.
Yeah.
In the first time it was not clear.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. I'll finish up and I'll get to the end where you would say something.
Yes,
So
if it is about hearing, I'm hearing clearly. Okay.
okay. All right. So so Connor was very determined, and I believe that's why he did well. Now, Grant was his own sort of athlete. He was on the rowing team. Again, he had a score around 160 on his PSAT. The interesting thing about him is he did get a score up to the 95th percent on the SAT, but at the same time, it only took us 2 more sessions for him to do into the 99th percent on the ACT. So he was able to get into Yale with his performance. He got a 34 on his ACT, but a 2230 on his SAT, and he took the techniques very seriously. Then there was Sarah. She actually started off with her sister, Christine. They had some fairly average scores, about 170. Sarah continued with me after a few weeks of working with her sister, and she was able to become a National Merit Scholarship finalist. She actually got a perfect writing section, which boosted her in the competition, and was able to get into the 90th percentile with her SAT score. Then there was Emily. So Emily had about a 156 on her PSAT. She had some learning disabilities. And this is proof that using these steps, using the system can work with students with learning disabilities. And she actually finished with over 2100 on her SAT. Her father kept pushing me the whole time. Are we going to get 2100? Are we going to get 2100? Are we going to get a 2100? And with her determination and mine and her father's determination, she was able to get into the 2100 on her SAT to 90th percentile. Then there was John. So John actually tutored with me online, and he already had a very high test score when his mother actually contacted me when I was traveling in Florida, and I didn't really know if I could get the sort of increase she wanted. He had a 680 on his math section, about a 560 on his verbal, and we ended up with a 1510. So he got into the 99th percentile on his test. Then there was Vic. So Vic he didn't really have tutoring with me at all. I only saw him in a classroom setting. He was able to get a perfect PSAT writing score and a score well over the 90th percentile. Patrick was a little bit strange as far as our cases go. He kind of was you might say a little troubled young man. He bragged about hanging out with the Hells Angels. Still, despite all of his faults and not always taking his studies that seriously, he still was able to get his 300-point increase and get a better than average score. Arjun told me he was no good in math, but with our focus on other techniques and my showing him how to think methodically with those steps, we were able to get a 780, the 99th percentile in math, and over the 90th percentile on the whole test. So there's plenty more examples you can look at if you go to my website, a+tutoring-testprep.com /SAT-ACT-testimonials. You can call me, email me if you like to, but let's just sum up what we learned today. The SAT is really an easy test if you approach it with a proven system. Learning disabilities often mean very little when you activate your true potential. Without memorization in regards to the grammar, the math, and the vocabulary, efforts to achieve those maximum scores are largely futile. So if you don't have to, and you don't have to be super smart to take the SAT. There are ways to actually increase your IQ even quickly. Time is ticking to take your old SAT, but there are many benefits to do so if you use the right system. And most importantly, habits will either make you or break you on the SAT, not only on the SAT, but also in life. So I'm about to show you an easy way to get those habits, so stay tuned. But first, I want to get you your 2 free gifts today and also announce the winners. So the winners of our tutoring scholarship, I see Janine in Memphis, Tennessee. Congratulations, Janine. Looks like you're one of our lucky winners today. Let's look for our second pick here. Our second pick, George from Montgomery, Alabama. Congratulations. Are you there, George? Congratulations, George. You won our second scholarship. Just email me for details. We'll be working with each other soon. And the third one, that's right, Catherine. Good job, Catherine from New Hampshire. Congratulations on your prize. We're glad to have you aboard. I really look forward to working with you and getting your test scores as strong as possible. And now those special gifts for you today. Just go to testprepaces.com/free, and you can get your free book, The Free College Information Guide. Inside info on saving thousands of dollars on college. It's a very special gift I put together for you. I thank you all for being on the call, but I'm not done. I have something even better to show you in just a second. What could this whole system do for you? That's the question now. We've talked about habits, and a lot of you realize you probably don't have the habits you need for test day and our 20 minutes of work together. This is about 10% of it. It's the most vital part of my system, but at the same time, it's like gold bars without a treasure chest. You're going to want to protect these gold bars and add to them, and it's pile up these riches before someone takes them away. So I'm going to show you how to secure your increases and build on them, but we'll probably need to spend more time together. So I'd like to introduce to you membership in the Academy of Test Prep Excellence. This is the same system that's guided nearly 1,000 of my students to test day success. In this membership, you'll find that you'll gain the confidence that you can approach any test, achieve absolute maximum scores. You'll learn a system that will enhance your efforts in college so you can spend your time doing more valuable things. You earn a grade score so you can compete for top-tier scholarships and impress future employers with your skills and portfolio. You'll learn the critical thinking skills that make up the top 1% of successful people. And you'll be able to show others that you can succeed in what other thinks is the hardest type of academic work. What does this all entail? Well, if you're interested in this amazing package I have lined up for you today, you'll get 30 hours of bonus live training so you can completely crush the SAT. That is, it's going to be live format, so you'll all have an opportunity to join if you can get me at the right time. You'll have on-demand recordings if you missed any of that, of the 30 hours in the membership area. You'll have actual live question-answer sessions so you can overcome your obstacles with massive imperfect action. I have some very special bonuses lined up for you too. We're going to give you world-class training in the ultimate test day tool, the Heart Math technique, which has been shown to help students improve their math scores by 32% and their verbal scores by 23%. You'll be able to access the SAT Mastermind group on Facebook. We can get a hold of me and other SAT gurus who are already achieving high marks on their tests and ask any question that you want. Our bonus, number 3, you'll be able to improve your IQ in 1 day with intelligence and testing. $17 value. You'll really enjoy this course, and it will help you right away. For all those people who say you can't improve your IQ, this is proof that you can. We'll have the speed reading monster course. This is the one that will help you if you feel like you're reading too slowly, you're not going to be able to get through the questions. I'm also going to show you how to be more direct about things, using your question types to know where and how to look, but this will only help you. Retail value about $47. Bonus number 5 is making your degree matter. So we're going to help you choose the career that best suits you and this time in your life. Bonus number 6 is destroy your debts. We're going to show you how to make sure you don't graduate from college with a ball and chain around your neck, as if you need to pay back these loans for the rest of your life. Bonus number 7, you're ready for college checklist. Make sure that you have everything you need to get started in college today. And we have some very special Act Now bonuses. You'll be able to chat with a guru. You get 30 minutes with yours truly discovering how you can maximize your scores and chisel out the most effective plan to get you to the school of your choice. You'll actually be talking to me personally to get everything done. Now, what is it for all of these bonuses? This whole program, I thought, you know what? There are people out there charging $12,000 for a tutoring program, but this is not the same thing. This is not one-on-one tutoring in the sense that we're sitting here across from each other, working through material face-to-face. That's ideally, in truth, the best way. Now, we're going to get some of that experience And I have helped students both in class and online get to the 99th percentile, even though we didn't have that one-on-one experience like you would expect there. But I still didn't think that was fair. So, $2,000 didn't seem fair. $1,500 didn't seem fair. So I was thinking, I'm normally going to be offering this class for $997. But for you, since you've made it today to this special launch, we have a special price for you. It's not going to be $997. In fact, the $497 figure I was thinking about, there are programs out there that are $700, $800 just to watch some videos online. And we're going to be offering you much more than that. I thought, $497 would be more than fair, especially since it's about 50% of what's out there right now. So instead, I'm going to do something even more special for you. It's not going to be $997 to get into this elite program, not $497, but today it'll only be $297 to get my entire course of $30. So that's less than the price of 1 hour of tutoring with other tutors. Tutors out there are charging between $300 and $350 for their elite programs. I've, I think, proven to you at this point, being able to get to the top 1%, 700-point increases, working with students from learning disabilities to even deafness to economic hardship. If those students can succeed, so can you. But I'm not done. I know this cost of this program is probably about 1/10 of what you would normally pay for a tutoring program. And a lot of you can easily afford this from your goals for college. I want to make this super special and show you how to get this temporarily at an even more amazing price. If you want to order, just go to testprepaces.com/SAT-domination. Here's that special surprise. I'm going to give you some special Act Now bonuses. So our bonus number 10 is to get free textbooks. Only the first 50 students can get these. This will include the College Board SAT Study Guide, the Gruber SAT Study Guide, which is worth $20, and also the Diana Hacker Bedford Handbook, worth $10. So that'd be $30 in books, and I'm only going to charge you $1 to get into this program to hold your seat. That's right. $1 will secure your spot in this program today for the first 100 people. I'm sorry, I really can't take many more than that because I have to honor these bonuses of giving special time to my students. I already have a full tutoring schedule here during the summer here in Cincinnati, and I can only take 100 students online. But if you have $1 to your name, you can hold your spot and make the other payments later. That is, you will be charged $147 after that first session next week, and then the other $149 the second session near the end of that week. So it's still a total of $247, but you can still cancel within 30 days of getting access and get a full refund at any time. So you can order here at testprepaces.com/SAT-domination, and you can get your free textbooks if you're within the first 50 people to sign up. So you have your Gruber SAT Study Guide worth $20, the Diana Hacker Bedford Handbook worth $10 to $50. Both of these books are very valuable, almost necessary for what we're going to do. I highly recommend them. It's going to be hard for you to follow along if you don't have these books. There is a link online to find the electronic version of the SAT Study Guide if you want to find that, but especially the Bedford Handbook, I would get a copy. You can get them in several places, including Amazon. I will send you the link, but the first 50 people will get these for free. So here's my guarantee. If you're not 100% certain that the membership in the Academy of Test Prep Excellence doesn't help you gain the confidence you can to approach any test and achieve your absolute maximum score, learn a system that will maximize your efforts in college so you can spend time doing more valuable things, or earn a great score so you can compete for top-tier scholarships and impress future employers with their skills and portfolio, I'll give you your money back. No questions asked. It's that simple. So that's okay. Thank you, Janie. Yes, thank you, Janie, for joining. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Yes. Okay, looks like we only have a few spots left. So I'm sorry, I can only guarantee 100 spots. Looks like there's 70 spots taken up so far. It's still $297. We do accept credit cards and PayPal. This will never be $297 again. I'm sorry, this is the launch price. I do want your testimonials, and that's the reason is $297. I expect your testimony if I had given you as much success as I've indicated I've done for these other students. So again, you'll get the 30 hours of the live training. You'll get on-demand recordings. You'll have your extra weekly live question and answer session, so about an hour a week, where you can ask other questions to me live in a separate session. You'll get the bonus of the heart math technique, special training to help your scores, to get rid of stress on testing, also succeed in life. SAT Mastermind group access, improve your IQ program, speed reading master program, make your dreaming matter ebook, improve your IQ in 1 day ebook, the speed reading master course, college readiness checklist, and destroy your debt college program. You'll be able to chat with me, and it looks like 5 students left can get their textbooks for free. Okay, does anyone have any questions now at this point? Did you notice any questions, Mac, in our chat box here?
No, I didn't see. Did you write a question?
Okay, well, it's like Charlie here in South Carolina is asking if I can guarantee his success in our program. Well, Charlie, I can't guarantee your success, and I don't want to cheapen the value of what I'm doing or give my students a false sense of assurance that I'm some sort of magician, because I think often that happens when we talk about success on test day. I can't do everything for you, and I can't even control the testing situations on test day. I mean, my job is to show you the types of students that reflect who you are and what you're capable of. And if you want to talk to these students or email their parents, you can definitely be my guest. I can't guarantee that you'll succeed on test day, but I can guarantee that I'll give you my best effort and give you the same essential information my other successful students have gotten. You have a full 30 days to try it out. If you're not happy with those 30 days, you get all of your money back. Any other questions? Tammy? That's right, Tammy. Everything will be recorded. If you miss the session, you'll be able to access it. Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Can we have 30-day manual? What we are going to learn in 30 days?
That's a good point, Mac. I'm going to elaborate that and give you bullet points on that later. So I'm going to add that to this introduction. But we're going to have 15 modules that will deal with the different parts of the test. Each of our modules will be comprised of a math section, a verbal section, and a grammar section. So we're going to learn the 5 essential steps to the math section that you'll be following, along with the 5 supplemental steps when you get stuck. We'll be learning the 6 reading comprehension steps and 4 classifications so you can know how and when to deal with each type of question. We'll also have our 4 grammar steps and have a complete knowledge of all the grammar rules you would need on test day to succeed. We will go through the Latin and Greek roots, prefixes, and suffixes. So, by looking at the root of the word, you'll have some idea what the word means, and that's all you really need on test day to deal with the vocabulary. We'll also deal with some of the Anglo-Saxon words, so you can have some idea what they mean. We'll, as we said, talk about test anxiety and how to eliminate that and actually perform better than you're normally able to do. And then finally, we'll talk about speed reading and how you can not only skim for your information, but actually read it with effective techniques that have helped the fastest readers in the world go through hundreds of words at a time in just 1 or 2 seconds. So we'll be talking about all of those things in each of these modules, and you'll have a chance to get into the thick of really each part of the test, the math, the reading, and the grammar within that 30 days. So you can make a decision about whether you want to finish the course or not. I highly recommend that you do. Students who only finish 1/3 or 1/2 of my courses don't do nearly as well as those who have finished to the end. So I highly recommend you finish this course. I'm sorry, but if you've canceled on me, I can't include you in a future course. There's just not enough overhead for that. But that's essentially what we're doing. So just want to remind everyone that we are going to close this offer down in about 24 hours. The price will incrementally rise from month to month with the new administrations of the SAT. So if you wait for this to be introduced within about a month, looks like we have 97 students right now. We can take 3 more students. If you have any questions, please contact support. That's help@testprepaces.com. And if there's no more questions, I know some of you got on this call without your parents, and you want to tell them about what we learned today. I'm going to keep an extra 50 spots open for those who weren't able to get on this call. We had a packed call today. So look for a replay. I may be able to do a morning session for those of you and your parents who work late. So we may initiate a morning session for those who didn't make it today, and give you a chance to get in this program still at the $1. I'll try to provide some extra bonuses for you to make sure that everyone has the basic books they need, but everyone's probably gonna have to buy a Die and a Hacker book at this point. I think there's only one person who get in at the 50th person who gets the free book. So everyone may need to buy the Die and a Hacker Bedford Handbook, but you can get that as cheaply as $3 or $4 if you check the links that I'll send you. So, well, I'd like to thank everyone for joining today. Look forward to working with all of you, and congratulations to our winners. It was a lot of fun today. I hope you all do really well on your SATs, and stay tuned. I'll be emailing you shortly. Thank you. Goodbye. So, can you hear me, Mac? Mac?